What is up, Motorfest racers? It is I, your wheelman, Alex Cornnut. We're here today with the Noble M600. It is the next in line for the two new Noble cars that we've got. I'll just cut it to you straight. It's not as good as the M500. Doesn't have the same top speed. It's not better on the short track. And overall, it's not a bad looking car, and it's not a bad car. But if you're looking for the better of the two Nobles, the M500 that we put out yesterday is better. That's why I did it first. But let me show you what we've got. There are some cool things about this car that I do want to touch on, and I'll show you what it does on the test track. It's okay. I don't want to like poo-poo the vehicle, but at the end of the day, if you had to pick between the two, the 500 is far superior, and I'll show you why here in a bit. Let's dig into it. Let me show you what we've got. Out of the gate, as far as customization goes, it's kind of the same deal as the 500. You can do the body, so visual parts, go nuts. You can do anything you want with that. There's a lot of different fenders. Do the wide body kit, you name it. I do like that when you do the paint scheme on it, like those stripes, they go right through the engine cover, and so right there on like the valve cover gasket and everything else, it's it's got those white stripes on the motor, and I like that. I think that's a really neat touch. The devs did great there, and that's where like the coolness factor of this car kind of starts to trail off. You can make it look great, but it doesn't really perform to match. Let me show you the pro settings that we've got that I ran with this one this week. Final drive is all the way long. You definitely are going to want that because the top speed in this vehicle is not what you're looking for, to be honest. It only does about 296 with nitrous. It'll probably do around 300 with some slip, but that's a far cry from what the 500 does when you can get like 313, 315 with slip, and so it's slower. That's rough. Grip is 100% both front and rear. Brake balance, we faded that all the way to the back to allow the car to turn in a little better, so it's 60% in the rear, 40% in the front. Brake power 100% as we do. Aero 100% both front and rear, that way you're gripped up and ripped up. The springs, this is where I differ a little bit from SakuraCommander. Originally he had it all the way stiff in the front and just a little bit, like around 7% in the rear. I thought that was too stiff. I was bouncing on the curb, so I softened it up a little bit when I was running the test track. So I'm running +5 in the front, +3 in the rear. For the compression, it's -11 in the front and -5 in the rear. And the rebound, it's -7 in the front and -4 in the rear. For your ARB, the anti-roll bars, I've got +9 in the front, +8 in the rear. SakuraCommander was running at +10 in the front, +7 in the rear. I backed it off and got a little bit more neutral there with it. I felt it turned a little better for me once I made those changes. I tweaked a lot of stuff once we started getting into the test track when I was really setting lap times, and I got my overall fastest consistent laps once I had made these changes, so that's why I think it is truly the better way to go. For the camber, we're a half step in the front, so it's -0.12, -12, and then in the rear we're full Beyonce, 0.25% all the way to the left. That is going to be the Noble M600. I'm not in love with this car. There's far better cars in my opinion to run in the hyper class. Centro DC, cracked, really love that car. Revoluto's really good. The M500's really fast, and so if you can tame it, it's really good too. And there's other hypercars that I prefer a lot more than this one, but because the Nobles are going to be new to the game, a lot of people are going to be interested in them. I wanted to bring you both of them so you know out of the gate which one you want to get into before you even have to buy any of them. Alright guys, stay tuned for the test track footage. I show you what it does on a lap around that or a race around that track, and then I do get it out on the highway and I show you what it does with some boost. Spoiler alert, it's not nearly as fast as its younger brother or older brother. Yeah, no, younger brother. The other one, the M500, is a lot newer. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate all of you. I don't have a channel without viewers, and so you guys are helping me out a lot, and I'm thankful for that. Everybody have a great rest of your day. See you on track. Bye-bye. The Noble M600 is a lesser Noble, which kind of hurts my feelings to say, to be honest, because I really wanted it to be great. But it just doesn't get around the track as fast as some of the other cars do. The M500 has a unique handling characteristic, but man, it's cracked in the top speed department once you get it going. This one, when I'll show you here on the highway in just a little bit, really doesn't. So you've got lesser top speed by 15 mile an hour and not like a lot better short track to show for it. I've run the car for a better part of an hour now around the track after we got it tuned in. Like, I don't count the tuning time into the time that I run the track because I'm making so many adjustments that the consistency isn't there yet. But then once I've got it dialed in to what I like, that's when we start running the test track. It turns well off throttle. Like, if you get out of the gas and you're turning, it turns pretty well. But you need to know that going in. If you're full throttle, the corner widens up quite a lot, so you need to be kind of aware of that. My biggest gripe with it is that with it being so much slower on the long end, the big end, I would want it to be a lot faster in the short track, and it just doesn't showcase that. The best that I've done around this test track today is a high 211, and we're kind of on pace right now to recreate that, I think. But regardless, that's still a second slower than what the M500 does, and the M500 is 15-20 mile an hour faster on the big end. And so we really are driving a lesser car. It doesn't feel faster on the top end at all, and it doesn't feel faster on the short track, so it's like we're kind of just trading top speed for not a lot of gains anywhere else, which is unfortunate because I really wanted this car to be cracked. But at the end of the day, it's still plenty faster on the track. It's just not as good as I would like. I scuffed that corner. We're going to suffer right there. We probably would have been at 210 if I had not butchered the last corner. So, like for like, 211.3. It's a little slower around the track than the M500, but I didn't screw up the last corner in the M500. So, it's not bad. If you can wrangle it in and learn how to drive it, it does okay compared to the other hypercars. But let me show you what it does on the highway, because that is a big difference that I think you guys really need to see, because it isn't nearly as fast as I would like it to be. Let me show you. Alright, we're going to get it out on the highway. I think this is an important metric to start working into the videos. You guys have seen me do that in the last few. Knowing what the car does with just nitrous top speed. If you're out front in a grand race and you're running, this is, or if you're on an island, so to speak, meaning there's no one to draft, bump you, or no one to slipstream behind, you need to know what it's going to do. So it's only got 6 gears. 296. Maybe down this hill we can get a little more out of it. 295, 296. So out of the gate, that's 15 mile an hour slower than what we were getting out of the M500. That's a lot. 15 mile an hour is a lot. That's the difference between gaining on somebody or breaking away from somebody. And in this case, this car is not going to gain on anybody. The Centradici does 305 roughly. In slip, it'll do like 306. So this car is slower than a lot of the other hypercars on the big end, and it's not really faster on the short track. And so it's not as good as it could be. It's the Noble M500 is really the cracked car to get, because it's just got that, like we were doing, 309, 310 with nitrous, 313 in the slip, 315 if you're slipping another one of these. Whereas I think this one, the most it's gonna get is maybe 300 with some slipstream. Like, you'll see we got 396 there for a second, 294, 295, 296, not 3. So be aware of that, you guys. The top end's just really not here with this car. I don't dislike it. I just want to be very realistic that if you get to pick one of the two Nobles, the 500's better in my opinion. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I don't have a channel without you. Have a great rest of your day. See you next time. Bye-bye.